Joe Madison in the studio with me, and joemadison.com or .net, the website, Madison Sirius XM, if you want to tweet him. And Joe, I wanted to read something to you that John Ehrlichman said. I don't know, remember John Ehrlichman? He was
Nixon.
Yeah, he was Nixon's right-hand man.
Yeah,
he was sort of the Rahm Emanuel for Richard Nixon kind of guy. And this was in the Washington Post, December 28th. And this quote, and it's actually out of a book by Dan Baum called Smoke and Mirrors, The War on Drugs and the Politics of Failure. And Dan Baum interviewed John Ehrlichman before he died. And this book was written a couple of years back. And this is what Ehrlichman said. He said, the Nixon campaign in 1968 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black. But by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin and then criminalize both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's like that Lee Atwater quote, you know.
Oh, well, I play that every now and then, like you do. Yeah, you know, I remind.
But it's the same. You know, Republicans
remind young people the Southern strategy.
Yeah.
You know but that's an amazing quote. But that just tells you. Thank you. That just tells you once again. Dick Gregory and I. You may remember. It was after '68, but then from when the heroin issue, the heroin concern hit hard. Then remember it was crack cocaine.
Oh yeah,
a decade or after
that came out of Iran Contra. Bringing that cocaine up to.
How well I know Gary Webb was a friend of mine. I mean,
really?
Oh yes,
he did groundbreaking research.
Well, let me tell you what. Let me give you real quick the background.
Sure.
Real quick, I'm on the air at WRC here in Washington. Mm-hmm. Someone tells me, "Have you seen this story out of San Jose Mercury News?" At Gary Webb's byline. So I read it. I pick up the phone. I call every person I could think of, Maxine Waters, everybody I could think of, Dick Gregory, everybody. They were all at the Democratic convention at the time. Dick Gregory returned the call and said, don't say anything else. Get me the story. I'm on my way back to Washington. I'll get with you. We'll meet. And so we started going over the Dark Alliance. That's what it was called, Dark Alliance. Read it, and I started reading the excerpts on the air. 90 straight days. I challenged the CIA to come up with information. And guess who was on the air with me at the time? Oliver North.
And who was according to the stories that I've read, was one of the people essentially in charge of making sure that cocaine got back into the United States after they took the guns out.
He can't even go to Costa Rica to this day because there's a warrant for his arrest.
Seriously?
Yes. So we went after him big time. Matter of fact, Oliver North and I at the Palm Restaurant, not far from here, had a debate. Larry King moderated the debate.
Whoa.
And I had, from Costa Rica, I had the indictment papers against Oliver North in my hand and started reading them.
And he said?
He left.
Really?
He left. He left.
Wow. That's amazing.
He left. Dick and I then started going out to the CIA, and we were going to get arrested. We started picketing in front of the CIA. People thought we were crazy. My wife thought I was crazy. We were, but we went anyway. So we went, and nobody messes with the CIA. I'll tell you, honest story. So we take about 10, 20, maybe 30 people, and we're actually at the gate of the CIA. Mm-hmm. And we're ready to, we're picketing, and CIA is smart. So they're not going to arrest us. They're just going to let us picket until it got dark.
Right.
So Dick and I had we had gotten some yellow crime tape. that a friendly police officer gave us, said crime scene.
Right.
And we took it and wrapped it around the gate of the CIA and declared it a crime scene.
Oh, that's incredible.
They came out and arrested us.
At that point.
They came out and arrested us. Yeah. Then we ended up in jail. There were 5,000 people at the D.C. Convention Center when we were in jail.
Mm.
And they were ready to march on the CIA to get us out of jail.
Wow.
And they let us out.
Yeah.
They let us out. Well, big mistake. We went back again
to the CIA.
To the CIA, and
for pumping cocaine into the black communities in this country.
This whole enough cocaine to turn it into crack, right? Yeah. So and this is all Gary Webb's research,
right?
And so we're just pushing. So this time they still want to, oh well, these guys, Joe Madison, Dick Gregory, they're nuts. We're not going to arrest them. So Dick then he takes a plastic bag, the plastic bag, and it's full of flour. And he throws it on the gate of the CIA like it's symbolic of cocaine.
Right.
Do you know them dummies actually brought dogs out to test to see if it was to see if
it was cocaine?
And we're cracking up. Well,
Dick Gregory just threw $1 million of
cocaine and so they arrest us again. Oh, and this time they're very serious. They put us in separate cells. They put us in jail. We had a DEA agent who had Costello was his name, who was in Costa Rica at the time. Right. He was part of the Gary Webb piece. He had basically told the whole story.
Didn't Gary Webb come to an untimely end as a result of that?
Gary Webb ended up allegedly, I'm going to say this, committing suicide because they said he shot himself in the head twice.
Right. Yeah. That's the story. That's right. I remembered it was something like that. It was like some impossible thing.
And it was the only time in the history of the CIA that the CIA director had to go to Los Angeles and basically at a town hall meeting that Maxine Waters forced him to come in and explain.
And talk about the crack epidemic and the role that they played in it. Amazing. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.